that pertain to your work in the Business of Psychotherapy program. We like to pass them on to you in the form of live learning. And this past weekend was just such an event when Apple Computer introduced the iPad. Now, no one knows if this will be a success or not, although it looks like it probably will. But there's several marketing lessons for us in private practice. There were long lines at all the Apple stores. And let's review. What were the three things that Apple does better than anyone that we can learn from? 1, branding. 2, creating buzz. 3, stating their USP, their unique service proposition, constantly. Let's quickly look at these three items. Branding. Their logo and their brand is so well established that they only need to use their logo in an ad. They don't even need to put their name or any product, and you know instantly who it is. Creating buzz, they get people talking about their products months before they are released, with rumors and projections and just a tremendous amount of talking, better than anyone in almost any industry. And stating their USP constantly. Steve Jobs, the CEO of Apple, in January called the iPad a magical revolutionary product. Now that may be hyperbole and hype. We'll find out eventually. But he's not afraid to say what he thinks his company is about: innovation and design. And he constantly hammers home those points. So what are the applications for us? Do you have a clear, focused brand in your community? Do you have events that create excitement and word-of-mouth referrals? And do you state your USP in all of your materials? These are three things to keep in mind, to learn from the genius marketing of Apple. And beyond this, there's a secret lesson. In fact, what I believe is the most important marketing lesson from Apple, which is shown in these three archaic pictures from the past. And what are these three things? Well, preceding the Macintosh, the iPod, the iPhone, and the iPad were three of the most spectacular failures in business history. The Apple Newton, called a Personal Digital Assistant, or PDA, went nowhere before the Palm Pilot dominated the market. The Lisa computer, named for Steve Jobs' ex-girlfriend, by the way, was the first computer with a graphical interface and mouse. It cost $10,000, and this was 30 years ago. It was bulky, it was slow, it was a disaster, and it hardly sold. But the lessons learned created the Macintosh in 1984, which still exists today. And when Steve Jobs was forced out of Apple, he left with millions of dollars, brought some great talent with him, and said, I'm going to create a dream computer called the Next Cube. And it was an utter failure. How could this be? A talented guy with talented people around him and lots of money to burn. And it didn't work. But much of the operating system from the Next computer became the kernel for what today is Mac OS X, which is considered the state-of-the-art operating system in computing today. Steve Jobs has never been afraid to fail, one of the reasons why he was recently named CEO of the decade. And that's the lesson for today. What are you afraid to try? What secret project do you have inside of you that's burning to come out, but you're just afraid to give it a whirl?